Most people will never tell you this, but I'm going to. The way a narcissistic husband treats his wife is far more dangerous than anyone admits. It isn't just arguing or occasional selfishness. It's subtle. It's invisible to outsiders. It's calculated to make her doubt everything about herself, her instincts, her worth, her very reality. And here's the truth that will shock you. He does it without ever raising his voice, without ever showing a single sign to the outside world that anything is wrong. You might know a woman trapped in this exact situation, and she may look happy, normal, even smiling, but inside, she is losing herself piece by piece. You're about to hear things in this video that most people never dare to say out loud. You're about to see the patterns, the manipulation, and the silent cruelty that happens behind closed doors. And when you understand it, you'll see why it's so hard for her to leave, why she questions herself, and why she sometimes feels like she is trapped in her own life. This is not exaggeration. This is reality. And the moment you recognize it, the moment you see the truth clearly, it will change the way you look at relationships forever. Stay with me until the end, because I'm not just exposing the problem. I'm revealing the solution. I'm going to show how she can reclaim her power, her freedom, and her confidence. I'm going to reveal the exact mindset shifts that allow her to break free from manipulation, to stop doubting herself, and to stand taller than ever before. By the time this video is over, you will understand what it really means to see the truth, to wake up, and to take control of your life, and nothing, not even the person who tried to control you, can take that back. You need to understand something that most people refuse to admit. When a narcissistic husband gaslights his wife, it's not just a simple disagreement or occasional misunderstanding. It's a systematic erasure of her reality, her confidence, and her sense of self. At first, it starts subtly, almost imperceptibly. A question here, a comment there, designed to make her doubt herself. "Are you overreacting?" he asks, with a smile that masks the intent behind the words. And she starts to question, because she wants to believe in love, she wants to believe in him. She wants to believe that what she's feeling is her own fault, not the product of manipulation. And that is exactly what he wants. He wants her trapped in a cycle of self-doubt, constantly turning inward, searching for answers that do not exist within her. He uses words like weapons, twisting everyday conversations into tools of control. He will deny things he clearly said, making her question her memory. He will accuse her of things she didn't do, forcing her to apologize for offenses that never happened. And over time, this becomes a pattern. She begins to feel that she cannot trust her own mind, that her thoughts are unreliable. Every opinion she voices, every concern she expresses is met with doubt, criticism, or subtle ridicule. This is not accidental. This is intentional. Every small moment of uncertainty he instills is a brick in the wall he builds around her freedom and her self-esteem. The psychological effect is profound. A woman in this position begins to shrink herself to fit his expectations. She silences her instincts, her emotions, and her needs because she has been conditioned to believe that expressing them will lead to conflict, rejection, or further manipulation. She walks on eggshells in her own home, constantly measuring her words, adjusting her tone, trying to avoid the unpredictable storm that always seems to follow. And the irony is that he will often disguise these attacks as concern, as care, or as love. "I'm just trying to help you," he says. "I just want what's best for you." And she believes it because she wants to believe it. One of the most insidious aspects of gaslighting is its invisibility to outsiders. Friends, family, even children might see a charming, composed husband, someone who appears caring, rational, and respectable. They cannot see the private erosion, the slow dismantling of his wife's sense of self. She is left alone, isolated in a world where her pain is invisible and her experiences are invalidated. The isolation becomes part of the control. The fewer people she can turn to, the more dependent she becomes on his version of reality. And that is exactly what he wants. Dependence is power, and every moment she doubts herself, every time she questions her own judgment, he strengthens his hold. It is important to recognize that this manipulation is rarely loud or violent in the traditional sense. It doesn't need to be. It is quiet, relentless, and subtle, and that is what makes it terrifying. He doesn't shout, he whispers. He doesn't strike, he convinces. He doesn't force compliance, he shapes it from within her mind. And because it is internalized, the damage is profound. Confidence erodes, self-worth disappears. And over time, the wife begins to wonder if she was ever enough, if she was ever right, if she was ever capable of standing on her own. The narcissist has built a prison, and the bars are made of doubt, fear, and guilt. But here is the truth you need to hear, and it is crucial. None of this is her fault. She is not the problem. The manipulation, the control, the constant undermining, it all comes from him. He has chosen this path because it serves him. His actions are not about love, companionship, or partnership. They are about dominance, validation, and control, and until she recognizes that, she cannot begin to reclaim herself. Recognition is the first step. Seeing clearly, naming the manipulation, understanding that it is intentional, this is where freedom begins. Once a woman understands the mechanics of this gaslighting, she gains something powerful: clarity. Clarity allows her to separate her truth from the narrative he wants her to believe. Clarity allows her to trust herself again, to reclaim her intuition, and to rebuild the confidence that was systematically stripped away. It is not an overnight transformation. It is a process, often painful, but it is essential. Every moment of doubt that is replaced with self-trust, every time she chooses her own reality over his distortion, she takes a step closer to liberation. Remember this: a narcissist thrives in shadows, in silence, in secrecy. The more she internalizes the damage, the stronger he becomes. The moment she speaks, names it, and refuses to accept the manipulation, she begins to dismantle his power. Awareness is not just understanding. It is the first act of resistance. It is the first declaration of independence. So, to every woman listening, understand this deeply and never forget it. When a narcissistic husband gaslights, it is intentional, it is systematic, and it is dangerous. But it is not permanent. You can see it, call it out, and rise above it. You can rebuild the truth he tried to steal from you. You can reclaim your mind, your confidence, and your life. And when you do, the cage he built around you will crumble, leaving nothing behind but your freedom and your strength. The truth is harsh. The reality is painful. But knowledge is power, and the moment you see through his lies, you take your first step into liberation. You are not broken. You are not at fault. And your power, your clarity, and your freedom are waiting for you. If you have the courage to claim them, you need to understand something that most people never admit aloud. A narcissistic husband doesn't just manipulate his wife's mind with words. He controls her entire existence, often without her realizing it, under the guise of love, concern, and care. This control is subtle, it is insidious, and it is designed to make her believe that she is the one who is failing, the one who is unreasonable, the one who is wrong. And because she wants to believe in love, she accepts it. She tries to rationalize his behavior. She tells herself that he is just stressed, just tired, just misunderstood. But the truth is, this is not love. This is control. Pure, calculated, and relentless. A narcissistic husband does not see his wife as a partner, as an equal, or even as a human being with her own needs and desires. He sees her as a reflection of himself. She exists to validate him, to reinforce his self-image, to fulfill his desires while suppressing her own. Her opinions, her emotions, her dreams, they are secondary at best and threatening at worst. Every time she expresses herself, she risks triggering his disdain or withdrawal, and over time, she learns to silence herself, to shrink, to make herself small so that he can remain large. This is not coincidence. This is strategy. Every action he takes is designed to reinforce the hierarchy he has created, a hierarchy where he is always at the top and she is alwa, wise below. Compliments, gestures of kindness, and moments of affection are rarely genuine. They are tools, carefully deployed to manipulate her perception, to make her feel seen one moment and insignificant the next. He knows that inconsistency creates dependency. He knows that uncertainty breeds fear. And he uses these tools to ensure that she remains tethered to him, constantly seeking approval, constantly seeking validation, and constantly questioning her own judgment. One of the most devastating aspects of this control is its invisibility to outsiders. To friends, family, and colleagues, he may appear generous, attentive, and even loving. The mask he wears in public is impeccable. But behind closed doors, the truth is starkly different. Every subtle critique, every manipulative apology, every withdrawal of affection chips away at her confidence, erodes her independence, and strengthens his grip. She may look calm, composed, and happy to the world, but internally she is navigating a minefield of doubt, fear, and self-censorship. He will often convince her that his controlling behaviors are for her benefit. "I only want the best for you," he says. "I'm just trying to protect you." And she believes him because she wants to believe in love. She wants to believe that what she is experiencing is normal, that these are just quirks in a partner she cares for deeply. But the reality is that these behaviors are not protection. They are possession. They are the tools of someone who seeks control, not connection. This control extends into nearly every aspect of life. How she spends her time, how she manages her money, even how she raises her children can become arenas for manipulation. Every boundary she attempts to set is tested. Every assertion of independence is met with resistance, criticism, or guilt. And because this resistance is often subtle, it is easy for her to internalize it as failure, as weakness, or as a flaw within herself. She begins to doubt her judgment, second-guess her decisions, and even question her own needs. And as her confidence diminishes, his power grows. But the most insidious part of this dynamic is that he often makes her complicit in her own control. He encourages her to rationalize his behavior, to make excuses for him, to defend him to herself and others. And over time, she becomes an unwitting accomplice in the very system that is eroding her freedom. She silences her instincts, doubts her intuition, and bends her will to match his. And this is exactly the outcome he desires, because a compliant, self-doubting partner is the ultimate reinforcement of his dominance. Yet, here is the truth that is rarely spoken aloud: no amount of manipulation can truly extinguish her autonomy. Recognition is power. Understanding the strategy, the motives, and the patterns of his behavior allows her reclaim clarity. She begins to see that the affection he shows is transactional, that the apologies are performative, and that the concern is actually control. And with that clarity comes a choice: to continue living within his carefully constructed world, or to reclaim her own reality and her own power. It is crucial to understand that reclaiming this power is not about revenge, and it is not about proving him wrong. It is about reclaiming the self that has been overshadowed, diminished, and controlled. It is about building a life rooted in truth, authenticity, and respect. The moment she begins to trust her own instincts, to honor her own needs, and to set boundaries without fear of retribution, she begins to dismantle the control he has worked so hard to establish. Each step she takes toward independence is a direct challenge to the system of dominance he has built. So, to every woman listening, know this: when a narcissistic husband controls you, disguising it as love, it is intentional, it is systematic, and it is designed to make you doubt yourself. But your mind, your intuition, and your power belong to you. Recognize the pattern, understand the motives, and reclaim your autonomy. Speak your truth, honor your instincts, and refuse to accept manipulation disguised as care. Because the moment you do, you step out of the shadow he has created and into the light of your own freedom. You were never meant to live small, silent, or doubting. You were meant to thrive, to stand tall, and to live with clarity, dignity, and power. And when you finally see the difference between love and control, you will never, ever allow anyone to dim your light again. The mask is gone. the truth is visible, and your free dom is waiting for you. There comes a moment in every woman's life who has lived under the shadow of a narcissistic husband when the fog begins to lift. It is not dramatic. It does not arrive with fireworks or a grand revelation. It comes quietly, almost imperceptibly, as a thought, a feeling, a whisper in the back of her mind that says, something is wrong here. And when she listens to that whisper, when she allows herself to truly see the situation for what it is, everything begins to change. This is the moment of recognition, the wake-up call, the truth that has the power to set her free. Recognition is not just about understanding that he is manipulative, controlling, or self-centered. Recognition is about seeing the pattern, naming the behavior, and refusing to participate in the lies any longer. It is the moment she realizes that the chaos, the confusion, the constant erosion of her confidence has been intentional, that the guilt she carries, the doubt she feels, and the fear that lingers are not reflections of her inadequacy, but of his need to dominate. Understanding this is the first step toward reclaiming the life that was quietly stolen from her. For many women, this recognition is painful. It feels like betrayal, not by him, but by herself. How could she have been blind for so long? How could she have justified the lies, excused the behavior, tolerated the manipulation? These questions are natural, but they are not evidence of weakness. They are evidence that she is awakening to the truth. And awakening is powerful. Awakening is the beginning of transformation. The danger in this moment is hesitation. Many women recognize the truth, but hesitate to act. They hope, they pray, they cling to the idea that he will change, that love will somehow make him see reason, that patience will heal the wounds he has caused. But the truth is harsh and unavoidable. He is addicted to control. He thrives on dominance. He does not change because love, kindness, or patience can never alter a character built on manipulation. Waiting for change keeps her trapped. Waiting for validation keeps her dependent. Waiting for him to see the truth delays her freedom. Recognition without action is incomplete. Seeing through the mask is vital, but the real power comes when she chooses to act on that truth. Action does not have to be dramatic. It does not have to involve confrontation or conflict if she is not ready. Action can be as simple as asserting boundaries, reclaiming small pieces of autonomy, or seeking support from people who see her clearly. Every step she takes, no matter how small, chips away at the control he has over her. Every decision to prioritize her reality over his narrative strengthens her foundation. Understanding the truth about his behavior also reshapes her relationship with herself. For too long, she may have believed that she was at fault, that she was overreacting, that she was the source of the problem. But recognition allows her to shift that perspective. She sees clearly that she is not to blame. She sees that her instincts, her intuition, and her emotions were accurate indicators of a dangerous pattern. And she begins to reclaim the confidence that was stripped from her, the voice that was silenced, and the self-respect that was undermined. Recognition also opens the door to clarity in relationships beyond the narcissist. She begins to understand the difference between control disguised as care and genuine love, between manipulation and partnership, between toxicity and support. This awareness is transformative. It allows her to set higher standards for herself and for anyone she allows into her life. She no longer settles for the appearance of love or affection. She demands honesty, respect, and equality. And this shift is revolutionary because it replaces fear with empowerment and doubt with certainty. Yet it is important to note that recognition is not a linear journey. Doubts will surface. Old patterns of guilt, shame, and fear will try to reassert themselves. He may attempt to manipulate her perception again, to gaslight her into questioning her awakening. These moments are tests, not failures. They are opportunities to reaffirm her understanding, to strengthen her boundaries, and to solidify her autonomy. Each time she recognizes manipulation and refuses to participate, she asserts her power. Each time she trusts herself over his distortions, she dismantles the system of control. This recognition is not about punishment or retaliation. It is not about shaming him or proving him wrong. It is about reclaiming her own life, her own mind, and her own peace. It is about creating a reality where she can thrive, unshadowed by manipulation, unbound by fear, and unburdened by guilt. The moment she fully internalizes this truth, she no longer needs his validation, his approval, or his permission to exist fully and authentically. So, to every woman listening, hear this clearly. Recognition is your power. Seeing the truth about his narcissism, understanding the patterns of control, and acknowledging the reality of the manipulation is the first act of liberation. Do not allow confusion, hope, or fear to delay your clarity. Your freedom begins the moment you see through the mask and refuse to participate in the narrative that diminishes you. Understand this: the power was never in his hands to give or withhold. It was always within you. Recognition awakens it, action empowers it, and the life you were meant to live, authentic, confident, and free, awaits you on the other side of this truth. The fog lifts, the chains loosen, and the light of your own strength shines through. Never forget, the moment you see clearly is the moment your transformation begins, and from that moment forward, no one, not even him, can make you doubt your worth again. Once a woman begins to see clearly the manipulations, the control, and the illusions placed before her by a narcissistic husband, she reaches a point of choice. This choice is not about revenge, and it is not about punishment. It is about reclaiming what was always hers, her power, her dignity, her freedom. It is the moment when she decides that she will no longer allow someone else's ego, selfishness, or need for dominance to dictate the terms of her life. And this decision, though it may seem simple in words, is profoundly transformative in practice. To reclaim power, she must first embrace the truth that no one has the right to define her reality but herself. A narcissistic husband seeks to distort truth, to convince her that she is overreacting, imagining problems, or failing in some way. And for a long time, she may have internalized this false narrative, shaping her decisions, her feelings, and even her dreams around his version of reality. Reclaiming power means rejecting that narrative. It means trusting her own perceptions, honoring her own feelings, and allowing herself to live by her own standards. This is not arrogance, this is authenticity. This is the restoration of self-respect that he has worked so hard to dismantle. Independence is a key part of this reclamation. He may have subtly or overtly tried to control her finances, her career, her social life, or even her relationships with friends and family. He may have isolated her, creating a world where she feels she has no options and no allies. Reclaiming power requires dismantling this isolation. It requires seeking support, reconnecting with those who see her clearly, and stepping into spaces where her voice, her opinions, and her presence are valued. Independence does not happen overnight, and it does not happen without courage. But each step she takes toward autonomy weakens the structures of control he has built around her. Reclaiming power also means embracing boundaries. She must recognize that her needs, her desires, and her time are not negotiable in the way he would like them to be. Boundaries are not walls to shut someone out. They are declarations of self-worth. They communicate, without words, that she will not tolerate manipulation, dishonesty, or disrespect. And boundaries, when consistently upheld, shift the balance of power back to her. She learns that saying no is not selfish, it is self-preservation. She learns that demanding honesty and accountability is not unreasonable, it is essential. And she learns that prioritizing her peace is not indulgent, it is vital to her survival and her growth. Confidence, once eroded, must be rebuilt. He may have made her doubt her intelligence, belittle her accomplishments, or mock her decisions. Every act of control was designed to weaken her self-esteem and make her dependent on his approval. Reclaiming power means actively nurturing that confidence, celebrating victories, big and small, and silencing the voice that tells her she is not enough. Confidence is not born in a single moment of clarity. It grows through repeated acts of self-respect, courageous choices, and unwavering commitment to her own truth. Each time she affirms her worth, she diminishes the hold he has over her. Reclaiming freedom is equally essential. A narcissistic husband thrives when his wife is trapped by guilt, fear, or obligation. Freedom is not merely physical, it is emotional, mental, and spiritual. It is the ability to think, feel, and act without fear of reprisal. It is the liberty to pursue joy, passion, and connection on her own terms. Freedom is not given by him, it is claimed by her. It is earned through recognition, action, and unwavering commitment to herself. And once she experiences this freedom, nothing can diminish it. Not his words, not his attempts at control, not the invisible chains he thought he had forged. Perhaps most importantly, reclaiming power, boundaries, confidence, and freedom allows her to redefine love and relationships. She begins to understand the difference between genuine partnership and manipulation disguised as affection. She recognizes that true love uplifts, respects, and honors individuality rather than diminishes, controls, or distorts it. This awareness transforms not only her current life but her future. She is no longer willing to settle for anything less than authenticity and respect, and she carries this standard into every interaction, every connection, and every relationship moving forward. The journey to reclaim power is not easy. It requires courage, reflection, and sometimes painful action. It may mean walking away, redefining priorities, or challenging long-held beliefs about loyalty, patience, and sacrifice. But it is essential. Without this reclamation, the patterns of control, doubt, and self-erasure can continue indefinitely. With it, a woman steps into her true self, unshackled, unapologetic, and unstoppable. So, to every woman listening, understand this deeply. Your power has never been lost. It has only been hidden, overshadowed by someone else's desire for control. Recognition allows you to see it. Action allows you to claim it. Boundaries allow you to protect it. Confidence allows you to strengthen it. And freedom allows you to live it fully. No one, not even him, can take it from you once you claim it as yours. Your life is yours to live authentically. Your worth is not determined by someone else's need for dominance. Your happiness is not negotiable. And your freedom, once embraced, will illuminate the path forward in ways you never imagined possible. The power you reclaim today is the foundation of your future, the life you always deserved but were told you could not have. Step into it, own it, and never allow anyone to dim your light again. Because when you reclaim your power, when you set your boundaries, when you trust yourself, when you choose freedom over control, you are no longer living for someone else's narrative. You are living for your own truth. And that truth is unstoppable. That truth is liberating. That truth is yours.